Hello, wonderful people of the internet and YouTube. I hope you're doing well. I know I haven't posted anything in a while. I'm trying to get back into it. I'm taking my time and not rushing it, but lately I've been doing a lot to get my stream over on Twitch ready to go, and been having a lot of fun over there. Actually, it's been pretty great. But yeah, some changes are coming. Just spent a shit ton of money on a camera, so definitely going to be using that. So I am still committed to the channel. It's just been taking me a while to get back on my feet and stuff after just really honestly kind of a weird and crappy beginning of the year. And I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of you guys are dealing with a lot of stuff too. It's been a really weird 2020. But today we're just gonna get back in it. We're gonna forget about that and just talk about something simple like video games. And today we are talking about frame rate because it's come up once again with the PS5 event, which I think they had a great event. They showed lots of really good games, but a lot of people were upset because the news came out that a lot of those games were running at 30 FPS. And I guess a lot of gaming channels, well, I know a lot of gaming channels and a few tech channels have kind of speculated that these systems would run at a higher frame rate. Now, I know Phil Spencer out there has been saying that's like one of the things he's looking forward to, the Xbox Series X, so I don't know if there's like any real mandate for that or whatnot. But he's saying the console can't actually run at a much higher frame rate than has been allowed before or been capable of before on the old systems. The old systems were kind of bottlenecked. They had really terrible CPUs in them, and so the CPU was really holding back the GPU on the systems. This is not the case this time. So if they want to make a game and they want to push the frame rate, they can. So for instance, the new Dirt game coming out is going to be able to do 120 FPS on the Xbox Series X. They'll probably be with reduced resolution or something like that. Something always has to give to be able to do a little bit more like that, but otherwise it'll be 4K 60, right? So that's a great example of better frame rates with this generation. But anytime you're doing something like ray tracing effects or trying to do like native 4K with like a bunch of really great high poly art assets or something like that, you have to give something up, and that thing is usually frame rate. And that's what's going on here. A lot of those games looked really awesome. I would say even next gen and during the PS5 event, I had no second thoughts that those might be running at 30 FPS. Not even concerned about it in the least, because with what they're running in there, they have to be able to pull this stuff off. The GPUs need more time to render a frame, and the only way you do that is by lowering the frame rate to give them more time between frames to do all this stuff. Not everything like ray tracing is being done by the CPU, and there's really still bottlenecks depending on what you're trying to pull off. But at the end of the day, it's still pretty cool that they're able to do ray tracing and all these cool effects that they weren't able before. And that's what I'm really excited for, is like the things that they weren't able to pull off before. And if they want to do a little bit better frame rate, they can. They can focus on that with racing games or use it how they want. But that's what's so exciting about this, is that there's so many possibilities now that there weren't before. Typically, a lot of games, even if the GPU wasn't being pushed, the CPU was so bottlenecked they couldn't do anything with it. But even on PC, you have limitations. It's not like PCs don't have limitations. What ends up happening is, really honestly, the consoles are kind of a bottleneck for the PCs. And I'll explain this in a minute. I don't want to make anybody angry, but it is kind of the truth. But when you do look at PC-specific games being designed for the PC, they have been really trying to make an emphasis on push graphics harder than they have before. A great example is Crysis back in 2007. Really pushed it, and there was really next to no PCs that could run that at a solid 60. You had to have a really expensive PC. And then you had stuff like Star Citizen today. Star Citizen's really trying to do some really crazy effects and all that, and it's really pushing the hardware. And that's just how it is. It's common sense. Anytime you push hardware to a limit to create better effects and better fidelity than you have before, that GPU needs more time to draw frames. That's just the way it works. And so I would rather have a smooth 30 FPS than a rickety, might hit 60 every once in a while, but usually more like 45 and stuff. You get a really bad sense of motion when you have an uneven frame rate like 45, 50, something like that. It's not a good feeling. So 30 is the next logical step to go down to. gives everything time to process, and gives you smooth feedback to the eyes. You gotta remember, a lot of people don't have variable refresh rate TVs or monitors yet, so we're still kind of working within some means here. The other problem is when you're dealing with high dynamic range. A lot of TVs out there can't do 4K 60 and high dynamic range at the same time. And there's some older 4Ks that can only do 4K 30. So there are some good reasons to only target 30 FPS. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like today I was just playing Wolfenstein, Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, and I was playing it on my Switch. And yeah, the fidelity's lower because the Switch is a much less powerful system, but I was playing it portably. I was killing Nazis while I was taking a shit on my toilet, which is great and really cathartic and makes the bowels move really easily for some reason. It's awesome. But it's a really smooth 30 FPS on that system, so I don't mind playing it. And that that game doesn't necessarily need to be at 60. Something like this Call of Duty that we're watching right now is such a Twitch shooter, so fast paced, especially online. You need to have that update to your eyes, and so it's important that a game like this runs at 60 FPS. But at the same time, this game could probably look better, but the team has decided that frame rate was more important in this case. You see this with a lot of Nintendo games too. Nintendo likes to do 60 FPS in a lot of their video games. So at the end of the day, I don't care what you're playing on. It's up to the developer and up to their vision and what they want to do. And if you really want to care about frame rate, the only option you have is to go to PC. And the reason I say that is because most of these games have to be designed for consoles. PC is really the only place you're going to be able to push that frame rate higher, because you can always get a much more expensive GPU, a little bit more power than being run in the consoles, and then you can push that 60 FPS, maybe even 60 FPS 4K on like a nice little monitor or something like that. But the idea that everything's going to run with all these effects and all this real-time ray tracing and shadows and global illumination and voxel lighting and all this other crap that they're trying to do, and as well as like game engines can scale now, you're not going to see that with all the bells and whistles and the FPS. That's just how life is. That's just how it works. So at the end of the day, if you really care about FPS, you should stop complaining about it on a console and learn how to build a PC and game that way. All right. So it's just been my 2 cents. I just wanted to vent a little bit, but yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of angles on this, but at least to know that this time around, we're not hamstrung. The consoles can do 60 FPS. They can even do 120, and that's up to the developers ultimately. I don't have a problem with it. And I'm really excited for the next generation. So I hope you guys are too. I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you happen to be around on the weekend, sometimes I stream on the weekends on Twitch at twitch.tv cell processing, link down below. And I will see you guys in the next like disembodied talking head video. For all you guys know, I could be taking a dump right now while I'm making this video. It's like, you don't know where I'm at. You don't see my face. All right. Good night.